Cheers, dude.
Cheers, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on, dude.
Yeah, man. I'm
this is
excited
cool.
to the conversation.
Me too. Yeah. I am, and I actually got you a gift. So this is my burn the ships flag. You have to see it.
Burn the ship.
Yeah, burn the ships.
Nice.
Yeah. So I feel like it's customary. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I feel like a lot of people bring gifts. So
nice. People see the gift.
Yeah. So I actually got that flag last year, and I was kind of going through like a rough time, just not really where I wanted to be. And so that was a pirate. I think it was Blackbeard. He went and like invaded this other like band of pirates, and in order to win, he's like burn the ships so we don't have an exit strategy. So we're either like gonna win or die. And so I saw that flag online. I got it, and like I put it up in my room, and I was like, it's just motivational for me. So I don't know if you find the same motivation from it, but it's thought I'd give it to you.
Yeah, I think this is exactly where my point in my life.
Yeah,
I say fuck it, and I went.
Yeah, burn the ships.
Yeah, burn the ship.
Hell yeah, yeah. Plus my girlfriend moved in, and so she didn't like that as a decoration in my room. So so yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah,
thank you. So yeah, the funniest story between us, how we met, like in the class competition.
Yeah.
When I think people that watch the podcast maybe saw the video in my YouTube channel
about
the
video.
competition.
Yeah.
That in the finals how you beat me, and this is how we become really good friends.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's good that great people take other great people, and
for sure,
this is how you build community and you build network and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I liked in that video because it's like you mentioned when you go into a combat sport competition, you're looking at the person you're going to compete and you're like, this is right now my worst enemy. This is like the person who I've been training for so long to win. And then after, like, as soon as it's over, you just are like, oh, we could be friends now. You know what I mean? It's not the person that you're fighting. It's just the nature of the competition, and that's who your opponent is. And so, but yeah, before the fight, you're like, oh my gosh, this is not my friend. And then after the fight, you're like, okay, cool. It works.
Before the fight, we are the worst enemy. After the fight, can be the best friend.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool.
So people that don't know who is Tony.
Yeah.
Like, you're an incredible guy and you have interesting story. So tell us a little bit about
Incredible's a lot, but thank you. Well, yeah, no. So yeah, I grew up in Fruita, Colorado, which is like little town right outside of Grand Junction. And then, I was actually, I was homeschooled, and I spent a lot of time. I had a lot of younger siblings. I was the oldest of 6. Spent a lot of time with my younger siblings, but I was outside all the time. Did a lot of farm work growing up, and then I also, just was outside constantly, and then got into mixed martial arts first. And so I did non-gi jiu-jitsu for a long time, and then, MMA, fought a couple times when I turned 18. Went 2-1 in MMA, had a couple kickboxing fights, had a couple boxing fights, and was just really, really into martial arts. But then I joined the military. I left when I was 19, which was very different than your military service. Just in the Navy, shipboard, Harry S. Truman, and then got the chance to be a shipboard rescue swimmer, which was like the only time in the military I was like, this is cool. I wish I could do more stuff like this. And then I got out, started working as a seasonal park ranger, and then eventually became a full-time park ranger with CPW, and it's been really cool.
To be honest, I never understand the reason of Americans to join the army.
Yeah.
Like, what was your why when you decided to join the army?
Yeah. So when I decided to join the military, it was I've always loved military service, and I've always been a protector. I think it's because I'm the oldest of so many siblings. My grandpa was actually in the Navy during World War II, and he had seen combat. I don't know much about it. He died when I was really young, and I don't think he talked to my dad about it very much.
I guess he saved a lot of Jewish people in the Holocaust.
Yeah, well, he was actually in the Pacific Theater.
Oh.
He was in the Pacific Theater, so he was in kind of Japan area. So he was second generation Italian. So they moved here from Italy. His parents moved here from Italy, and then just went right to war for this great country. and super proud of him. Or I hope he's super proud of me. And then, so I kind of wanted to follow that legacy of the Navy. That's kind of why I chose the Navy. And I also wanted to be a Navy diver. Ended up like having some problems with my eyes. And so I had to do more of an administrative role, but ended up being able to go in the Navy and kind of fulfill that legacy of my grandpa, because he was, from what I understand, and unfortunately, like I said, I didn't really get to meet him very much, but he was a really good person, great man.
Nice. Your father was in the army too?
No, so my dad actually was has been a firefighter for 50 years.
Oh,
50.
wow.
He started at 17. And he started as a volunteer in New Jersey, and then ended up moving to New Mexico, which was the only place he could get a full-time firefighting job. And then retired from New Mexico, and then became the fire chief in Fruita, Colorado. So
Wow.
and he just retired over the summer. And he was a firefighter for 50 years. So definitely still a public servant and a protector, and so I think that it just bled into me. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
No, I see that a little bit different about like when my grandfather was in the army,
Yeah.
he fought to the right of Israel to be exist.
for sure. Yeah.
Then my father fought for the right of Israel to be exist.
hmm
Then the 7th of October came. I joined the army before 7th of October, but when
Yeah.
the 7th of October came to us, I went back to war and I found myself fighting for the right of Israel to be exist.
Yeah.
Like I found myself fighting the same war that my grandfather fought.
Yeah.
And for me, it was feeling like, yeah, I was fighting 20 minutes for my mom. It's
Yeah.
like so close. Like my mom was able to hear all the explode and all
Oh
the
my
bombs that
gosh.
happened in Gaza right now. That she know every moment time that I am there fighting for the right of Israel to be exist.
Yeah.
At the same time, we try to help the people that in Gaza, like to not be there anymore with under Hamas.
hmm
And you can see what happened right now. You can see with the Bibas family that just back, we find them they died, and Hamas did awful
Yeah.
ceremony for them. It's like was like if people didn't believe that Hamas kill baby and children and
Yeah.
families.
Yeah.
So now, if you don't believe that, because they did that ceremony, and there is this clear video that show their family lived in Gaza.
hmm
So if you don't believe that Hamas killed them, so who killed them?
Yeah.
And I found that my why is to defend my family, but in the same moment I felt like why I need to fight the same war that my grandfather fought.
Yeah.
Like think that now he was fighting against you, was fighting against the Japanese again.
hmm
Like why my grandfather fought and risked his life that I need to fight again. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. No, that's just human nature, though. I think like people are always going to find a reason to fight, and there's always going to be a war. So only thing you could really do is prepare, be strong, be smart, and if bad stuff happens, you want to be on the winning end of it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's me roll us to different subject.
Yeah.
So you're park ranger.
Yeah.
What it's mean to be park ranger?
A park ranger. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so it's a lot of conservation work. It's a law enforcement role. It's an education role. It's a land conservation role. So my job kind of does. I have a lot of different hats that I wear. So sometimes I'll be doing compliance checks for fishing licenses, things like that, even hunting licenses and during hunting season. And then in the summertime, it's a lot of like crowd management. It's like I'm literally out there parking cars sometimes. I clean toilets a lot. I run a park with a really small staff.
Okay.
So you just do a lot of stuff. And then wintertime, I'm writing grants to improve park facilities, things of that nature. And then a lot of talking to people, customer service, putting on clinics for kids. Going to elementary schools and talking about skins and skulls, wildlife in our area,
Nice.
things like that. So it's just a huge spectrum of things that I do, and it's all fun.
What is the values that you think is the most important that you get from that job?
So growing up in Colorado and spending so much time outside as a young person, I just really enjoy protecting the environment, and I really enjoy teaching people to be responsible outdoor users. I think that it's changing culturally. Like people are starting to realize, principles of like leave no trace and really understanding that it's a vital asset that we have is, just a natural environment. So, helping be a steward of that and a steward of the state that I love, that I grew up in, and like I served my country for, and like now I get to spend time in the forest and get to teach people how to be responsible users outside. So, yeah.
When you look about responsibility, what
Yeah.
is responsibility for you?
Responsibility, I think the overall term of responsibility is something that you either care about or something that you have been bestowed upon, something's been bestowed upon you, and that you need to really just give a crap about, and that you have to give a crap about it and just be completely immersed in it.
What do you feel about that generation, like our generation too? When you look about the men, especially about the men,
Yeah.
you think their responsibility, they don't responsible, like people, this world, like I always say that men need to provide and protect. This is the basic needs of men.
Mm-hmm.
And today when we ate lunch with the two great guys, they provide and protect.
Yeah.
And they did everything for the family.
Mm-hmm.
So today I see all the men's and the women at the same time say we want to be like the same like men's. In my opinion, women are here, like they're so amazing. We want to do everything for them,
Mm-hmm.
and men's are here. We
Mm-hmm.
work, we will clean the road, we
Yeah.
clean shit if we need to be able to like to give to the family, to our women, to our
Right.
children, to
Right.
everything else. So why do you feel that the gap try to get closed down? That the woman wants to be like the man, and they want to provide and protect, and doesn't matter like how to provide and protect. Because
Yeah.
I told my girlfriend like you can work and you can be a millionaire. I
Yeah.
will love that, but at the same moment I will want one that you will take risk, that you
Mm-hmm.
will do something that will put you in danger,
Right.
because this is my responsibility. If someone will come home right now with a gun, I will run towards him and I
Yeah.
will take care of that, not you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think that responsibility, especially for boys and young men right now, and we were talking about this earlier, like, there's so much, people are spending so much time on like, playing video games, and like I
Yeah.
have younger siblings still. So I see people just not actively participating in social like pecking order. Like boys need to like wrestle. Boys need to like get out there and like find out what's dangerous, what's not dangerous. Build things, go out and like build forts in the forest, and like that starts building like that social contract that men have of like assuming a responsibility, assuming a duty, even if it's just you and your friends. And I think that kind of that just this social disconnect of being online all the time and having instant gratification, like boys play video games because you get that feeling of accomplishment when you win. You get that like that dopamine hit of
Yeah.
like, oh, I just conquered something. I'm good at this, and which is awesome. And we're everybody's striving for that. Men are striving for that, and they're finding it in different ways that aren't necessarily physical, not necessarily gaining you like monetary value, and they're not necessarily gaining you credibility with your peers in like a real social setting. And this is just my opinion on it. So you don't have responsibility with your friends, I think, because you're not actively around them. You're getting all your dopamine hits from winning competitions at video games and things of that nature. And then also social media, like, and this is a problem for girls. This is a huge problem for girls, but like comparing yourself and young kids in general, comparing yourselves to others.
Yeah.
And when you go on Instagram and you're like, oh my goodness, this guy's, super wealthy. I'm 15 years old. And like, there's a dude that's like driving around in Lamborghinis. How can I even compete with that? And they're taking steroids and like doing all these things that you're like, I don't even know if I can compete with this person, even though the life isn't like what it actually seems to be. They have flaws, but you go on there and you compare yourself to it. And then you go, oh, well, I guess I'm not worthy of even trying to do anything spectacular because there's already people doing it. And I'm just going to kind of stay in my lane. Less adventures, taking the responsibility on yourself and like trying to push for something.
Yeah. There is in Israel, there is a race that I took part of him. It's called Running to His Light.
Mm-hmm.
It's for our friend Ronen Lubarsky, is rememberable bless, that died 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly the year. And we do a race for him. And one of the values of
He's your friend?
I knew him. He was a really good friend of one of my best friends.
Okay.
But we did a race for him. The organization that we work it's called Asauti Lochem. It's like make me a warrior,
Mm-hmm.
a soldier, and we train a lot of teenagers to the army.
Mm-hmm.
And every year we run from Rehovot, it's a city in Israel, to Jerusalem. That everyone knows the city. It's like 100-kilometer run.
Yeah.
And we separate that for 10 area, and everyone run two gaps. And I always was taking responsibility about one of his values was the responsibility value.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
Ronen was really good at that. And when I try to talk that with other people, you think, like, just try to imagine the picture. We are sitting in middle of forest,
Mm-hmm.
me, something like 100 teenager,
Yeah.
and more 100 soldier from
Right.
special forces. We
Yeah.
sit in 200 people. I need to lead conversation about responsibility.
Yeah.
In the middle of forest, zero light. There is maybe small firework, but nothing. Like
Mhm.
that's try to imagine that. And the biggest thing that I really love to talk about that my mom. I always invited my mom. She is amazing, and she always come and support stuff like that because
Yeah.
she loved to see me doing stuff.
Mhm.
Second, she loved to see the young generation.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there talking about responsibility, and you see the difference. There's like from 16 to 24 years old guys
Mm-hmm.
speaking about responsibility, speaking about how we can take responsibility about our life,
Yeah.
how we can change the world if we will only decide, because this is our responsibility. This is our
Yeah.
generation.
Yeah.
Like right now, yes, you can see all the leaders in the world, they are old, they are manage everything. But we are the next generation. We are the next leaders. Like maybe one of the people that's watching right now in the podcast, maybe one day will be president.
Yeah.
Like we have responsibility to do something great in that world. You,
Mhm.
me, you that sitting here, and all the other young people that try to achieve something.
Mm-hmm.
We have responsibility about that. We have responsibility where the life, our
Yeah.
life will be more couple of years from now. I have responsibility that I create to myself. I was able to go find and work for someone or
Mhm.
back to Israel,
Mhm.
but no, I decided to go all in, and I took responsibility about my life,
Yeah.
about the people that start to work with me, about the people that work for me, and the same moment about the family that I start to build.
Mhm.
And Momo, the small puppy that I just got.
Yeah. Yeah. Right on.
She's so
It's a
cute.
cool puppy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a sweet puppy.
But this is like why I will say to people, you can choose, you can take responsibility about your life
Right.
and do something great. Like
Yeah.
even if you go for jiu-jitsu competition, like we're going
Yeah.
tomorrow,
Yeah.
like I hate to lose. Like after
Yeah.
you beat me in the final, I was like say fuck. Like I felt bad, but that's okay because we're doing that for reason.
Right.
Like we didn't went to the competition just to enjoy. No, I want to
Oh,
to
it's
win.
a horrible feeling. I
Yeah.
hate right before a competition. It's like, and every time I do it, I'm like, why? And I didn't mean to cut you off, but like, I'm like, why am I doing this? This is not
I agree.
fun.
Yeah.
Why do I like? It's Saturday. I usually work on Saturdays, but like, it's a Saturday. I could be hanging out. Like I could be drinking beers. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many things that that are instant gratification and fun. But the thing is like if you have that delayed gratification, that type 2 fun, that reward feeling of like standing on that podium, first place, and you just get to oh, you know what? I am kind of a winner, and then one good decision by going to a jiu-jitsu competition, for example, and doing well in it. Then you start to build this like character in your mind of like who you actually want to be.
Yeah.
And then it bleeds into everything else because you start affirming yourself by one little step to a next little step. And then, win a jiu-jitsu competition. I start doing good with my finances. I get my life in order. I make good connections with people like you, and then it just kind of snowballs into something bigger. And I think that
that's right.
I'm in the early stages of that, but like you just got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and people doesn't know that even the best UFC fighters in
Yeah.
the world, their balls before fight like shaking. You don't feel good. You think about like, what the fuck I doing that?
Yeah.
Because like ordinary. I don't want to be like everyone else. I want to
Yeah.
be. I want to break normal. There is
Right.
a guy that have a podcast here that is called Breaking Normal, and he always bring people that break the normal. And I want to be a guy that break the normal. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be like everyone else. There is ordinary people like
Mm-hmm.
we want to do something great,
For sure.
and
For sure.
to do it, you cannot do what everyone else do.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do something else.
Yeah.
That's something
Yeah.
that people doesn't understand.
Yeah. Well, and if it's easy, everyone would do it, right?
Yeah.
If jujitsu was something that was easy, everyone would be like, and everyone should do it, and it is good, and
Yeah.
it is easy at certain levels, but like being vulnerable and going into a tournament where you're like, I have no idea, especially in the early days, you're like, I have no idea how I'm going to do. And then, but just pushing through that and getting through that feeling, like that's already a win, right? It doesn't matter how well you do. It just matters like you pushed yourself, you went there, and like you learned. You didn't get beat. You know, if you end up losing a match, you didn't lose, you learned. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
I completely agree with that.
You know, I always was thinking that you need to fail
Mm-hmm.
to learn.
Mm-hmm.
But then I learned something else. Yeah, if you fail, that's okay. To be successful, you need to fail a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the people fail. And that makes sense because
Yeah.
I fell in my life a couple of times, but every time you wake up and you stand up again stronger than ever.
Mm-hmm.
But what I learned was conversation with Yoav Asai, the founder of the organization that trained teenagers to the army.
Yeah.
He told me like a sentence that changed my life about failure. He told me, from failure, you have the opportunity to learn.
Mm-hmm.
From success, you create the learn. Like from
Yeah.
failure, you learn what not to do.
Right.
From success, you learn what to do.
Yeah.
This is why you see people that achieve something in their life,
Mm-hmm.
they achieve again and again and again. So always say to people, try to achieve, like when people open business, try to achieve the first penny.
Mm-hmm.
After you achieve the first penny, the first dollar, the first whatever in your business,
Mm-hmm.
you're able to understand what you did right, and you can create it again.
Mm-hmm.
And after you build everything, and then you understand, okay, I did the first 10 grand in my business.
Yeah.
How I can make the next 10 grand.
Yeah.
And then it's become
Copy and
bigger.
paste.
Yeah, 20
Yeah.
grand. Okay, now I did 20 grand. How I can do the 40 grand.
Yeah.
From when you succeed something, when you do something right, you learn how to do it better and stronger.
Totally. Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I think that there is a lot to losing, because because I used to compete in MMA before, like I said, before I went in the military, and some of the like most pivotal moments when like I felt myself getting better was after a loss. So I lost one time in competitive MMA, like it was amateur, but I was so motivated to go back to the gym that Monday. I remember I got done with a fight. The next morning I woke up, I ran 6 miles, went right back into the gym, and I was just like, that feeling is never going to happen again. And trained super hard, and I was like, oh, I literally felt myself get better because of that, because I had more motivation, because the first couple times I was like, oh, this is awesome, whatever I'm doing good. But then that loss motivated me to then discover new avenues and just to train a little bit, to train some things that maybe I hadn't worked on, right? And so I think that success, you could copy and paste it, but then inevitably when we all fail at something or have one minor setback, that's a good time where you could like reevaluate and then kind of course correct.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question about the gift that you gave me.
Yeah.
When you felt in your life that you burned the ship?
Burn the ships. Yeah. So I think it was actually getting out of the Navy. I was making pretty good money. I was, had BAH, so basic housing allowance is kind of an allowance they give you. And like, but I wasn't happy. I was on shore duty. I'd just gotten off my ship, and I was like, you know what? Like, I am not happy in the situation that I'm in. I was in a relationship. It wasn't super great. And so, what I ended up doing was, it was during COVID. So they were like, you're not going to get into any colleges. You're not going to, employers are shutting down hiring right now because it's COVID. So you should just stay in the Navy. And then at that point I would have been in for 7 years, and then, you're close to halfway there. So halfway to a 20-year retirement. So I like took a self-evaluation. I called one of my really close friends who used to be my kickboxing coach. And I was like, hey, I'm just not happy with what I'm doing right now. He's like, well, then just get out and figure it out. And so I did. And I found this early transition out of the military because I had another 2 years on my shore duty. I sent it up. I qualified for it. I sent it up and it got approved like right away. And I was like, interesting. And then from there, got into college, which worked out. Like I got into college before I even got out of the military, got a job as a seasonal park ranger, which is what I want to do. But it was all that first decision of like just taking a blind step and submitting that package. And then like, they're like, yeah, you're going to be out of the Navy in 2 months. And so, it didn't give me a ton of time to plan, but everything just kind of unfolded and worked out. So, and that was a good time.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you? What was the time that you burned the ships?
Ooh, one time.
Okay.
And I burned the ship, I think, every time that I felt that I'm not in the right position. But my biggest burn the ship, it was like when I decided to move to USA.
Okay.
Because I got my business in Israel that make me nice money.
Yeah.
I lived in a penthouse with my ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
With a dog.
Yeah.
And I was really close to my sister. And I was really close to my parents. I enjoy life. Like everything was great.
Yeah.
Like nothing was perfect because I knew that I want more.
For sure.
But everything was great.
Yeah.
And then all my life I dream about USA. I dream about to do something that will impact people, but not only in Israel. It will do huge impact. And I always speak about that when I will finish to do that impact. And I also that will happen before I will become 40. I will be able to give back 4 years to USA as a congressman, but that's a different dream.
Okay. So
Yeah.
are you still planning on becoming a congressman?
To give back to it's like a dream, but I don't know how much is like strong dream.
Right.
But like maybe in the future after I
Totally.
will do my first step in USA is to
For sure.
build
The
company and to do
Right.
something that will be in all over USA and maybe all over the world. And then I will be able to give back to the country 4 years for my time.
Yeah.
And when I came here, I came from nothing. Like I was regular to live my life from in like that level. And from that level, I became that level. And then like everything changed because I knew that I want to achieve my dream.
Yeah.
So I went all in. And when I came here, like it was in the same day that I closed everything that I'm going to come here, the flight ticket and everything, I went to my father to tell him that.
Yeah.
My father by himself is a great businessman. He teach me everything about business.
Right.
He's my role model.
Yeah.
And I went to him and I wanted to tell him, Dad, I'm going to move to USA.
Yeah.
The same moment he told me, I need to talk with you too.
Yeah.
He told me that he is his partner going to separate the business and he wants me to join into his business too.
Nice.
So like,
but to stay in Israel to join
to
the
stay in
business.
Israel.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's like, you have two options right now.
Right.
You're able to stay in Israel, keep building your business, join your father business. That was like kind of what I wanted long time, but I didn't get used to with as a partner. And he told me right now that, and then I say, no, I still want to burn the ship. I still want to come to USA. Worst case scenario, I will be 25, 26, 27 with 100 grand loan. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Like doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I will find the way to make money.
Right.
And I came to USA
Yeah.
to achieve my dream. I think this is my biggest brandship.
For sure. And it seems like it's working out for you, dude. Like this is,
Try.
I mean, lunch was crazy. We went down there. I was like, this is a cool place. Cool people you hang out with.
Yeah.
And like to have a network like you have and to, have the opportunity to interact with people that you do interact with. It seems like, you're kind of a recipe for success. So yeah.
I try to do my best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always was good with people. I think people can lead you and help you to achieve stuff in life that you never believed in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like network.
Yeah. No, yeah, I felt like it was like the, like this stereotypical 1920s where it's like, just like, businessmen all hanging out in like a dungeon. That's literally what lunch today was. I was like, this is really cool. Yeah. So, and I think, honestly, lately I've been trying to develop the burn the ships mentality more and more. I think that like, getting back into jiu-jitsu was one of the bigger things for me, because I had taken pretty much like a 7-8 year break
Wow.
from being in college, being in the military, and then kind of starting my career. And then it was really just over September I got back into training regularly 4 days a week. And I'd been off and on during those 8 years, but like actually dedicated to it. And I was like, I'm going to sign up for a tournament. Let's just see how this goes. And so
In the grappling?
yeah, in the grappling, and that was the last one that we did. So, yeah. And I think that if you just keep on doing that, even if it doesn't work out, you have to have calculated risk, obviously. So make a plan. Don't just sign up for a tournament without training. Don't invest in a stock without like reading the white paper or whatever. Don't invest in crypto without doing your due diligence. But having a calculated plan, but then just sending it at a certain point, I think is important. I think a lot of people get caught up on the overthinking.
Yeah.
And like the constant like, well, I mean, this is all the stuff that could go wrong. But the thing is that like, if you don't try, you're guaranteed to not have success if you don't try. There's a small chance of success if you just send it. And then there's a larger margin of success if you go in with a little bit of due diligence. So yeah, finding that calculated risk and actually going for things,
yeah,
I think is really important, especially for young people to like grasp that lesson.
Yeah, I feel that the young generation, the young, teenager,
Mm-hmm.
they are more and more hiding behind the screen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like all the apps of Tinder and Bubbles, all the schminder.
Yeah.
Like it's easy to
Yeah.
open a phone, swipe. She look good, she look bad.
Yeah.
But it's hard to people go outside and meet people in person.
No, totally. Yeah. And I think that so I've got a brother who's 16. I love him to death and he's super cool. And and I'm trying to and I want to instill that in him where it's like you're not going to gain much from hanging out with your friends. And I don't think he is into drugs or drinking, but there's obviously two groups of people he could hang out with. There's like positive people like me and my other brother, who's also an entrepreneur and is a really successful construction company that he's doing right now. You'd actually like to talk to him at some point. But then my 16-year-old brother, it's like you see like these kids that he hangs out with who are just like barely have conversational skills, like don't really shake your hand, look away from you when you talk, and you're like, man, I don't remember that when I was 16, but I'm sure that my friends were all like that. But the nice thing was I had martial arts, so I was hanging out with older people.
Okay.
And so I think that like helped me with some of my conversational skills. But yeah, I think that going back to like that responsibility key, trying to instill that in like my 16-year-old brother who sees like how easy it is to just like be on the phone and like not really interact with people, as opposed to like pushing yourself and like forcing yourself to have these social interactions that are certainly uncomfortable, like when you're first starting out, but then will pay dividends in the future because you look squared away,
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So my last question is like, give me the best advice that you can give for people that want to do something great in their life and not to be like everyone else.
Yeah. Well, I'm still figuring that out,
yeah. We're
and
still young.
Yeah, still young, dude. So yeah, I think overall just go for it. Do your research, due diligence, and then burn the ships.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tony, thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
And tomorrow we're going to get 2 gold medals.
Yeah, we're going to get after it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
It'll be good. Tune in. Sweet.